What's going on, guys? This is Miasin and welcome to my Labrynth deck profile featuring the new cards from Age of Overlord, as well as this doesn't even exist yet I mean, we don't even have like a date for it because it's from like Animation Chronicle or something. So hopefully it's not gonna be after like 2027, because for some reason Konami always takes forever to give us cards from those unique sets, but whatever, we can always pray. Anyways, this deck is absolutely broken now. I feel like it keeps getting better and better, and we're getting to a point where floodgates really have to die, potentially like skill drain, even though I'm not playing it. Yeah, and also ban the virus trap cards. But yeah, Xine, the card's really fair. It's just limited. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just limit the card. Yeah, for sure. Anyways, before this video starts, make sure you like and subscribe. You already know the drill. And now let's get right into it. Alright, so first things first, I just want to remind everyone for the 10th billion time that this is not really like a stun deck. It's actually more of a combo deck. So even though it actually plays with a bunch of trap cards and it feels like a trap deck, it's not a trap deck. It's a combo deck in disguise. But anyways, I'm playing quite a bunch of monsters for a trap deck. So 2 Lady, this card you can summon it whatever, like during the turn you activated like a Labrynth card or effect or like a normal trap card or something. So you can even technically play it generically if you really want to. As a matter of fact, I want to say even Arias is like just insane generically, but of course it's much better in the Labrynth deck because it's searchable, so you always have access to it, and you can also recur it back because sometimes your opponent is gonna like Ash or Bell your welcome and big welcome Labrynths, and then you get to revive back the Arias and then use the effect again, and then use another normal trap card on your opponent's turn, or you can actually special summon a Labrynth monster on your opponent's turn with the effect of Arias. So this card's honestly really filthy. But yeah, so 2 Lady, I think 2 is enough in the furniture version. Maybe in the trap heavy version you can get away with 3 copies, but this is just personal preference, honestly. And then 1 Lovely, this card is the biggest brick in the deck. The worst hands that you can draw, honestly. They always involve like this and the field spell and like no ways to play, and that's the reason why I'm not main decking the field spell. I feel like this version of the deck is so much faster, so much more aggressive, that you don't really want to play it like super grindy. The field spell is like a good card in the side deck that you will be siding in when you know that either you're going first or you're going against like trap decks, but I think moving forward, the optimal version is a more aggressive version with the furniture cards, also maxing out the furniture monsters. So yeah, that's the explanation behind these cards. Obviously, Arias is a mandatory 3 of, no shit, otherwise I wouldn't be making this video. 3 Ariana, this card is also really, really good, and you should be playing 3 because it searches so many good cards now, and it also searches engine cards that lead to non-engine, so there's really no reason not to play 3 copies of this card. Like, worst case, it's just like a discard fodder for the furnitures. In the non-furniture build, I think you can play like only 2 copies if you really want to, because you don't want to have like too many monsters. You really want to be like setting 5 back row going second. It's actually a good way to break boards, unironically. And you can also play like Lord of the Heavenly Prison and stuff like that in that build, and Sphere mode in the main deck, whereas in the furniture version, maybe not, because then you might just not draw enough trap cards and stuff like that. And you don't really want to play hands with like 5 monsters. Sometimes they're a little too slow, unless you're going first and you get to like resolve trap cards on turn 1. But again, even turn 0 you get to resolve trap cards, so it doesn't really matter too much. Anyways, 3 Chandra as well as 3 Stovey. So these ones are very similar with each other, but the Stovey gets to revive itself back on the field, which means that you're gonna have a level 2 monster on the board, and in tandem with a level 8 monster like Lovely or Lady, you can synchro summon into Chaos Angel. You don't necessarily need a tuner for that, because if you're using only light and dark monsters, it's fine. It's pretty much like a Link 2 monster at this point, which is really nasty, and it's not gonna have the effect to like make all of your synchro monsters unaffected by opponent's activated monster effects, but it's still pretty cool because all of your monsters will be indestructible by battle, and upon summon you get to banish a card your opponent controls, or actually on the field, and you also get to revive it back either with the field spell when you use a normal trap card, or with the Muckracker. That's also something to consider when you're siding in the field spell post game 1. So yeah, by the way, you can also summon Chaos Angel using Arias as well as Ariana, because this is level 6, which is a really weird level in this deck. It actually works in our favor because now there's just way more ways you get to summon Chaos Angel. Anyways, for the hand traps, I'm playing 3 Ash, 3 Imperm. I wouldn't play like Droll and Logbird in this deck. It kind of makes no sense to me. You actually can play Gamma, by the way, even if it's like a 1-of, it's fine. Worst case, you draw the drive where you discard it for the furnitures, and Gamma is also really good. If Gamma was a 3, this deck would be like unstoppable, because there's really 0 drawbacks to drawing like either the good or the bad cards. Obviously, you want to have a higher chance of drawing Gamma, but worst case scenario, again, it's not too bad. And you can technically play 1 Gamma with 2 Deltas. I've seen a few OCG players do that. I don't know if I really want to do that though. It just feels like a little overkill. You might as well just play other hand traps at this point, so that's the reason why I'm playing these ones. But yeah, you can replace some trap cards or some engine cards with like more hand traps. It depends on the format and also the environment that you're in. So this is not the kind of hand trap you should blindly copy paste and assume that it's gonna work out in any given format. You're gonna have to do a little bit of adapting. Anyways, 3 Kuklok, that's the final furniture monster. It got way better thanks to Arias and the transaction rollback. And of course, considering the fact that you're maxing out on the furniture monsters, you want to be drawing cards like hands of like Kuklok with Chandra and Strovi, so that you can really play on turn 0 and really like actually virus or debury your opponent like right away. Which should not exist, but yeah, for some reason this deck is actually capable of that. But yeah, so 21 monsters in a trap-heavy deck, Keg W. For the spells, I'm only playing 3 Extravagance. You can technically also play 3 Prosperity, but you're gonna be emptying out your hand really quickly in this deck because you're discarding so much and everything, so Extravagance is just really good at giving you like a higher amount of cards to play with, because Prosperity is like quality over quantity, Extravagance is the exact opposite. So in this deck, like all the cards are pretty much almost the same, so that's why like quantity kind of just matters a little bit more. But I think the other way around to see it also kind of makes sense. So if you want to play 3 Prosperity instead, you can do that. Just play test with both, and whichever you feel like is more correct, go for that one. Anyways, for the Labrynth trap cards, I'm playing only 1 Welcome. This is actually the worst because it doesn't really combo into anything. And once you have it in the graveyard in rotation, you just keep getting it back over and over. But Big Welcome, you actually expand it because you banish it in the graveyard to bounce back cards your opponent controls. So this one, you have like a limited amount of Big Welcomes. Well, technically unlimited if you keep going like lovely reset back again and again. But still, you really want to play 3 Big Welcomes. It also like works... It combos off in your deck because it gets to trigger so many effects because you're making monsters leave the field by a trap card. So you get to trigger the grave effects of Chandra and Stovey, the on-field effect of Ariana to draw, the effect of Lovely to pop. It's absolutely broken. So yeah, 1 and 3, that is my ratio, and of course obviously 3 Imperm. For the trap cards, I'm playing just billions of 1-ofs. So 1 Karma Cannon, so I can out random stuff like Expurely Noir. If it's unaffected by card effects, it's not really that good because they can just chain, and then the Noir is not going to be sent to the graveyard because it's no longer going to be unaffected by card effects, so it's no longer going to stay face up on the board. But at least it's going to go like face down, so it's like, it could be worse. Obviously Virus is there for slightly obvious reasons, I'm not going to explain that. D-Barrier, if Virus gets banned, you just play D-Barrier Turbo, and that still works against like 80% of the metagame, so it's really not the end of the world. Like, purely Call Xyz, it's basically like virusing you, honestly. You're just gonna pass doing nothing, and then next turn I get back the D-Barrier, and I keep screwing you up even more. Dragma Punishment, this is good against like pretty much everyone, and even with only 1 copy, you can use it again and again and again and again. You do a lot of recycling in this deck. This deck is really good for the environment. I really recommend Labrynth if you're a green person. Anyways, I don't even know what I'm saying. Terrors of the Overroot, this card is also really good against a bunch of decks, against Kashtira also, because you're gonna be setting back like one of their hand traps or something, one of their monsters, so that they control a monster on the board, and then they can't play anymore. It's just generically good, and it's a double interruption because it makes your opponent lose the card from the graveyard and on the field. Ice Dragon's Prison is very similar, you can also play that, but it does conflict with some cards. I mean, it's not really that it conflicts too hard. Like, if you have like Lovely on the board, you can't get hit by Ghost Bell on your Ice Dragon's Prison, which is really nice. But if you have like Rivalry and stuff like that, then it conflicts. So that's why I said that, but this version is not playing Rivalry or Goes and Match anyway, so that's not really the end of the world. And the final trap card that I'm playing is Compose. It's just a good card, but you don't have to play it, so if you don't want to play it, you can just remove it, honestly. It's a lot of flex spots in this deck. This is just like a rough draft to help you guys in the right direction. The extra deck is completely irrelevant, because even though this is, again, a combo deck, you're not really going into your extra deck that much. It's still a main deck combo deck. So 1 Fossil Warrior Skull Knight for Dragma Punishment. Yes, I'm gonna keep calling it Dragma Punishment. Fight me. Dragma... yes, of course. Skull Knight, you can banish it from the graveyard and then destroy a monster upon control, so it's a good card. Garura, once it's sent to the graveyard, you draw 1 card. Elder Entities, you get... Elder Entity Entis, you get to destroy a card your opponent controls. 2 Chaos Angel that you can Synchro Summon, even if you have, like, no tuners. Omega, which shouldn't be there because I used to play Gamma. So yeah, play, like, anything else instead, like Din Girsu. Zeus, because you get to summon a few Xyz monsters, like Baguska, using 2 Arianas, as well as number 1 Infection Busking. It's a rank 8 monster that you actually get to summon, even under the lock of Welcome Labrynth, because even though you're locked under fiends only, but this is a fiend, whereas then Girso is a machine and Zeus is a machine, so you might not always be able to summon them. But this card actually has a really nasty effect. It's pretty much like Diablosis, the Mind Hacker 2.0, but as a rank 8 monster, and also a little less cracked, honestly. Mirologic Aggregator is very similar to Elder Entity Entis, but instead of destroying a card, you're going to be able to negate a face-up card your opponent controls. So against Flunderies, this is really good in case they go like normal summon Robina effect, and then you go chilling to punishment, destroy the Robina, and then you're going to be sending the Aggregator, and then they're going to be going Eaglin effect after that, and the Chainlink 1, and Chainlink 2 Aggregator, negate the Eaglin, and they got nothing. And then for the Link monsters, 1 Tri Brigade Arms boost 7, I don't even know the name, I just know it as the Link 5 Tri Brigade. You can play 2 copies of this card because the Omega, again, should not be there, as well as 2 Muckracker. You want to play multiple copies of a bunch of extra deck monsters because of Extravagance. If you're playing Prosperity, you can get away with only playing 1 copy of each of those monsters. But yeah, that's it for the extra deck. So a lot of people always ask me, why is your side deck looking like this? Dude, I'm not gonna go to a tournament playing this. But yeah, Lord of the Heavenly Prison if you want to play like Trap Heavy. As I said, I don't recommend it. Lava Golem Sphere Mode, same thing. Bestial Monsters because you get to play a bunch of hand traps and kind of get away with it. Contact Siege, I don't even know why it's there, but it's good against a few decks. It's good against Despia, and I think Despia is overall not too bad against this deck because they get to turbo out Jinzo and stuff like that. But you can still play without before they even get to Jinzo, so that's finally something good for this deck. You can play some Ishizu monsters if you really want to, so Mudora and Keldo. This is the wrong one, my bad. But yeah, whenever you discard them with the Labyrinth furniture monsters, you get to pretty much like triple D-Crow your opponent, so you get to shuffle back like up to 3 cards from either player's graveyard into the deck. Really good card. You can also play Danger Bigfoot as well as Tackle Crusader, some other monsters that have nice effects when they're sent to the graveyard. Well, discard it from the hand to the graveyard. And then Foolish Burial Good so that you can send Transaction Rollback. Again, this card's really nasty. You should read it. You're never going to be using the on-field effect, only really the graveyard effect. So Foolish Goods is exactly what you want. It's pretty much like a reinforcement of the army, but better because you get to exactly what you asked for. And then the Labyrinth Field Spell, again, evenly matched for going second. It doesn't have like any inherent synergy in this deck. It's not like Trap Tricks where you can actually discard it. In this deck, I mean, yeah, sure, you get to discard it with the furniture, so you can actually main deck this card, but I don't really recommend it because you might as well just play hand traps. Deck Devastation, well, it depends on the format again. Deck Devastation Virus, just like a Eradicator cheat card. You activate this and you win the game. And then some Floodgates and Solemn Judgment, which I don't recommend because this is not like a Unga Bunga set 5 back row pass. You're actually using your brain and comboing off turn 1. So Judgment honestly doesn't really do anything. You're always turboing out some 1-ofs, so even if your opponent has the Lightning Storm Duster evenly, you just chain a bunch of cards. And anyways, that's all I had for this deck profile. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.